Hello and welcome to the Watch Party live pregame. We're about 5 minutes from kickoff right now with the Dallas Cowboys versus the LA Rams. We do have some breaking news coming to everyone now. If you haven't been watching pregame, Tyron Smith is out this week. So that could be an awfully huge blow to us against this LA's Rams defense that's pretty good, can get some sacks. You do have Aaron Donald on that line. So you kind of hope it's not that big of a loss and they can still overcome it. But that is a big thing, especially with how Dak looked last week. He did look really good against the Chargers, and they seem to get their groove back. So you really hope this loss isn't a big one this week, because this is a game that is much needed. As everyone has discussed on all the pregame shows, that Dallas has won their last 10 games at home in Arlington in the stadium. So it is, they are at home today. So it is some home cooking. So we're just about kickoff now. So it's something we will, we're going to continue to go through as the first quarter goes on and just talk about the game, go over it, what's looking good, what's not looking good. And now we're going to bring in our special co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Aaron James. Aaron, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Feeling good and excited to, see what our boys have been working on during the break and what McCarthy's come up with. Looking for the team to set a good tone for the first drive specifically.
So the question I do have for you, as they announced during pregame, Tyron Smith is out this week. Do you have any concerns with that going against this Rams team that he's not going to play? I'm not for myself, I'm not super concerned just because he's missed some time. So the backup linemen have been playing, but especially when you have a player like Aaron Donald in this game, does it worry you at all that, we are down one of our top offensive linemen?
I'm not worried all that much. I mean, Tyler Smith should be the one on Aaron Donald, but they don't move Donald around like the Chiefs move Chris Jones. Jones has been playing a little bit more edge than I've seen in years past, so which I think they should probably consider doing something like that, make it just more challenging and get in the quarterback's head a little bit. But I forget who we've had backup Smith. I think we'll be all right. I mean, I'm sure they anticipated that, early in the week or even midway through. So I'm sure that the team is gonna be smart. I'll put it that way.
You'd hope so. And they were listening to, during the pregame show, they did discuss, McCarthy and his kind of role, wanting to get a more ball control offense. Is that something, they did discuss, they brought up how Dak looked the most comfortable last week, which is something we both discussed their last home or the last game they played against the Chargers, because they did have the bye week last week. I thought, and I've been saying this all year, Dak just doesn't look the same. He hasn't looked comfortable back there. He doesn't look confident. But last week he really did. Last week he looked, sure in what he was doing. And I just, you could tell that. So to me, it's a good thing, especially when you have your announcers, guys that have been watching football a long time, when, they're coming out and saying Dak's look good. That's got to be a good sign, right? Especially when your national people are seeing it. I know it's Dallas and everybody's always going to be talking about Dallas. So you expect it. But for them to say Dak looked, this is the first time he really looked comfortable. That's got to be a great sign going into this week.
Yes, sir. It is, and he hasn't really had a breakout game. Just yeah. I guess last week was pretty good with getting Cooks involved and whatnot. But man, I just think of, what was it, the 20 when he got injured, the 2019 season, I believe it was.
Oh yeah, it was.
Man, he was
looking.
He was balling. Amari Cooper was doing his thing. But we'll have to see. Also, another thing, Pollard. I'm starting to kind of have a little bit of doubt if Pollard is the three down, back like we were hoping for and optimistic of going into the season. I think we might be missing Zeke more than we anticipated, just a little bit.
I agree with you. When I watch him play, like he hasn't. I did think him having to be the every down guy would lose some little explosion, because in the past we have seen him, being able to clean it up. You had Zeke come in and really wear down the defenses that we were playing, so Pollard could come in fresh legs and just do his thing. And the other thing they did discuss, so that's, it seems like we are having a little bit of worries, but they even discussed how CD's been vocal this last week about how, he's not getting his targets. He's averaging 7 targets a game, which to me is well below what he should be averaging when you have a player of that talent, guy that you took in the first round, kind of when there was other, maybe some other bigger needs there, especially because at that point we did have Amari. Does that worry you at all, the frustration that we're seeing, or is that just kind of he's a receiver, we expect this from him?
So you're saying like expecting this from Dak's play?
No. More from CD, like him expecting him to be vocal about not getting his targets, not being targeted as much as he thinks he should. Because receivers we've seen that throughout the years. Your big time receivers, T.O., Chad Ogerson, Randy Moss, all those guys that we watch up growing, all of them are very vocal when they're not getting their targets. We even saw AJ Brown earlier this year in a game where the Eagles weren't looking great, where A.J. Brown is making a big fuss about not getting it. And since then, he's had 5 straight games with 125 yards. So I'm thinking more on the CD side. Does that worry you at all that he, maybe some tensions building there?
I would say it's hard for players to be vocal like that until they get paid. You know what I mean? I feel like once CD gets his contract, and Cowboys have kicked off now, by the way, first play handoff. I think once CD gets his money, then we might see more of that diva come out a little bit. But at the same time, when you have another lion in the group like Micah Parsons, you don't want to have too many voices and be cause an issue on a team like this. Dak's a great leader. All the players seem to respect him. And love them. And so here we go, 3rd and long, not how we wanted to start.
No, first play drive. A sack on Dak. It looks like they got around that edge pretty easily. Pollard gets a nice little 4-yard rush after that. But yeah, 3rd and 11 is not how you want your first drive to go. He had time. It looks like he had time. He stayed too deep. It's a Dak mistake right there. The sack we had on first down. Stayed too deep in that pocket. Could have went up. Had some room to run. Yeah, that's not how you like to start the game out. Not at all. But positive news on a 3rd and 11. We get a sack, but illegal contact down the field. So
we'll take it.
3rd and 11, we get a first down. You don't like that though. So far, your first 2 dropbacks.
Oh my goodness!
Your first 2 dropbacks of the game are sacks.
Not good, and a third sack just happened.
Yeah, maybe Tyron Smith, and they're coming off both sides. They're coming from everywhere. This isn't how we expected this game to start. I don't know why. Did they say are we starting to look back and think maybe this Tyron Smith getting him to restructure? I know it's just today, and it's 3 sacks and 4 plays is tough. Even though one of them was canceled out, is maybe that not the right move? Re-signing Tyron Smith and trying to see what you can get out of him for another year.
Well, a lot of that was based off. A lot of baked into the deal was that he had to get a certain amount of games in to get bonus play or bonus pay, and things like that for Tyron Smith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so after a third, second official sack, third sack of the game, the guy that we brought up earlier, 2 straight completions to Mr. CD Lamb, right? We had a 2nd and 17, and Dak goes ahead and finds him for a nice pass, 17 yards, to get that first down, and then he has another short completion after that. So that's encouraging to see. Well, this statistic right here, 2 dropbacks, 2 sacks, 2 pressures is not encouraging. But seeing Dak sitting in there and seeing CD, this is why you get him the ball, right? On a 3rd and 17, you give him a 5-6 yard dump off, and he's the type of player that can go get that first down for you. And it's something we've said all along. I think we've been kind of, saying a lot. We got to get CD the ball. You got to get the ball in his hands because he is a game changer. He can make things happen. And we see it right here, right there. 3rd and 17. You just feel like you've been getting dominated and somehow you still have the ball. And he converts it. So I think that's a big play and big momentum shifter, I think, right there early in this game.
Yeah, I was having some issues with the stream, and it looks like it's now running fine. But I did see that CD Lamb play, and in that play, I really like him. He always tries to extend plays, not like some of the receivers that kind of just try to get the 2 or 3 yards falling forward. I really liked how he kind of took it to the outside and try to make something happen.
Yeah, and he does that. He's very good with the after catch, because he is one of those guys. We've said he's not the big receiver. He's not going to go out jump everyone, but he's very nimble. When he gets the ball in his hand, he's very hard to get down, and that's weird because he's not a big physical guy, but he's that type of dude that'll cut on a dime when you get the ball in his hands. And they're still extending this drive. We have Gallup now has a couple catches. CD has some catches, so Dak's really spreading this ball around, which I think is a very good thing so far. We have 3 different receivers have catches, 4 different receivers with targets. With the way the game started, he seems to be getting the ball out a little bit quicker now, which I think is a very good thing. And after those first 3 plays, they've started to put together a pretty good drive so far. I think my voice just went high when I said drive, but it's turning into a solid drive.
Yeah, not a whole lot of confidence behind that statement when your voice pitch goes up.
I'll agree with you there.
But yeah, no, back to I'm kind of having some technical difficulties with the game. Okay, now it's back up like 3rd and 6. I see is where we're at right now.
Yeah, they missed Tolbert on a 2nd and 6. They kind of did a short in route or a slant route. It's tightly covered. It maybe not been able to catch it. A better thrown ball may have been in there, but 3rd and 6, and then we get our guy, the guy you've been really wanting to show up more. On 3rd and 6, Cooks goes ahead and gets an 8 and 19 yard play. Down to the 18, nice little pass wide open. And then right after that, we get a Dallas Cowboys tutter. 18-yard touchdown to Jake Ferguson.
Let's go, baby.
So that's the way you start out the drive. And the good news about that being an 18-yard touchdown, it's a red zone touchdown, buddy. We have a red zone touchdown on the first drive of the game. You couldn't have scripted it any better outside of your first 3 plays, okay? This couldn't have been scripted any better. After the beginning where Dak kind of, the offensive line wasn't holding up. They seemed to be getting some pressure there, and Dak threw an absolute strike, a beautiful ball, which, and I think when you watch the play, it was a great catch by Ferg too. As a play where really he could only go get it. It had been a great play by the defense. But Dak made a great play. Anytime you score a touchdown on the drive, it's you gotta be happy. I didn't like the way they looked the first few plays, but they seem to settle down, and Dak is just throwing strikes. Oh, that is a beautiful catch by Ferguson. Okay, that was a beautiful catch. Beautiful ball right over the linebacker's head, right into Ferguson's hands. I think the gloves had a little bit to do with it, as they always do these days. Um,
I'm
but
waiting for. I'm still having issues with the feed. So, but that's. I mean, if you're saying it's up the like Ferguson ran a go route up the middle, is what you're saying?
he ran. It was like kind of like seam route right over the
Yeah,
linebacker, right over his head, perfect ball.
that's
They didn't
Dak
have
likes
over
that
the top on it. So Ferguson, we've talked a lot about these tight ends. We were, thought maybe they would draft one. But they got a good solid group. I feel like each week Ferguson, I think, has really shown himself to be the guy for the tight end room on this team. But I want to see him get more play, and it's nice. We have 5 different receivers having targets, 4 different receivers have catches so far. Dak really outside of that first play, 6 for 7. The first few plays, the sacks, and you can't really put that on him. I'm not going to put it on him. 6 of 7, 77 yards, 11 yards of completion. Tutter, he did take the 2 sacks. I think one of them was kind of his fault. He had time. But Gallup has a catch, 14 yards for Ferg for 18, Cooks 19, CD 3 for 26 on 3 targets. The only miss was the Tolbert, and I think it could have been caught. So he's got making those decisions too, and it's easy when I guess a lot of the guys were wide open. So I'm happy with that first drive. I feel like that could be like this all game. This is kind of what we wanted to see, though. Dak coming out slinging. I'm tired of the let's run the ball just to run the ball. I know I've said that a lot. I don't like it, especially when you're not doing good.
Yeah.
So when you get Dak, this is the Dak, it really kind of expanding on last week. Well, 2 weeks ago on the last game, where he just looked confident and he, decisive, and the guys are getting open, and he's just putting the ball where it needs to be put. So I'm satisfied with that drive. I'd like to see a little bit about offensive line play, but you can't complain when you have a touchdown.
Gotcha. One thing I did want to say in regards to that seam route touchdown, that was something that I feel like Romo perfected when Romo to Witten in that seam route. That was just a masterpiece and beautiful every time. He put that together, and Dak, he's pretty good at it. I guess he was, I guess you can't compare, Witten to Ferguson.
Not at all.
That's part of it. I talked about Zeke being this earlier. Maybe we're missing Schultz more than we anticipated
him too. I do think he was because Dak had that trust with Schultz. I think that's what it was. Just like it did really stink when T.O. left back in the day. But Romo just had that chemistry and that trust with Witten. That takes time to build up. It's not something, Ferguson's been here, but it's really was Schultz's job. He was, Dak was comfortable with him. Dallas kicks off, touchback, of course. It's always that way. But if you build that trust with somebody, like they were willing to let go of T, I get all the issues behind T.O., but he's definitely a guy that makes you a better team. They were willing to let go of him for the tight end. So I think that speaks to the chemistry that those guys have that I think Ferguson's still trying to build with Dak at the moment. And then, coming out, first couple plays, we have Darrell Henderson, 5-yard rush, kind of gashing through it. And then Darrell Henderson again with a catch for more yardage for 12 yards. So this defense it's early. Let's not judge play-by-play. I don't like judging play-by-play, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing so far. But we knew this was a good team. We knew Henderson was solid. I think Dallas thought the same thing we were thinking. Going to come out and throw, first play run. That's how it always is.
I did see on that second down that our DBs were at the line of scrimmage, which is something we talked about in our pregame, that we want to see our guys up and kind of match their wide receivers at the line of scrimmage and try to throw off timing. So
they did, and that was definitely a blitz where I don't think Henderson was, I don't think he was a receiver. I think it was more of a a chip play or a block, and then once they get past him, you just I'm sure they teach that as soon as your guy gets past, you turn around and wait because you're the quick check down. Man, now we have a nice play to Higbee where they just have time. They do a lot of motion, which helps with it. But him having time, having that clean pocket, that's not even a great ball. He was wide open, but that doesn't look like a catch. Let's see. I guess it is a catch. Yeah, it's a catch. Wide open seam route, though. Another one of those seam routes that are wide open. I don't like it. They're driving well, though.
They are. And, that same thing happened with the Chargers, right? Kellen Moore put something in the first drive together. They drove it down. And then from there, our defense kind of settled in and DQ made, whatever adjustments he had to do. But that's what I'm talked about going into this game. Sean McVay, one of the more creative play callers, play designers. Matt Stafford, still one of the highest IQ quarterbacks in the league.
I don't know if that's a catch.
All right, so
I really don't know if that Higbee plays a catch. Watching it, look like it.
I think he had control before going to the ground.
He did, but I always thought you had to complete the process. It looked like once he catches, he was already stumbling. It looked like a completion. So as soon as he catch it, they go. I guess he got his 2 feet. Then they spun. His knees are down. I don't know. I'll say it's a catch. I know if it's Cowboys, I'd say it was a catch. So I'll say it's a catch right now. But I don't like the way they're just driving on us. Second and 11 now. They, little pass to 2-2. So not they're not even, they're coming out totally not thinking what I was, wondering. They come out, they run the ball, then they throw to Henderson and Atwell and Higbee. So the 2 boys that we thought they were going to have to worry about don't even have a target yet. I'm sure that'll change coming up shortly. Now, we do have a third and 11. Yep. After that 1 yard run, Stafford. We got to make these are the stops. These are the plays right here that are going to kill you, though. Because we have a 3rd and 11, and Mr. Nakua comes up with a big play.
No way.
Yeah, this is the problem. Because they go empty backfield, right? You go empty backfield, you're expecting, and he's just got all day. He has so much time. And it was just a great route, a great throw on a crosser. It definitely looked like man. But those are the plays, like they got no pressure. He's just sitting back there and just has all the time in the world. Yeah, it was definitely man with some crossers. It's just a good route and a good ball. Nothing. I don't know what you could do there. There's not much you could do. Good thing they got the tackle, because if they don't, he probably scores. So I don't like the way this drive's looking so far.
All right. So it looks like we got 3rd and 10 again. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I did like they tried the little one with Atwell. Didn't work. And you knew they would try to get Cup involved.
All right. Bland is up against Cup. And, it was a wide receiver screen. And Bland stuck with him, got the tackle to finish off the play. Nice, Bland. That's awesome.
It's 27 opening drive points for 4th in the NFL. Well, makes sense because McVay's a dude, and I guess you're right. When you look at it, that's a good play. Might have been defensive pass interference on the 2nd down. But when you're looking at it, McVay's a smart offensive coach. So I'm sure he's watched enough Cowboys film and, like you said, kind of put together that drive to put together something for them. Come up, you know what you're doing. I can't hear you.
Yeah, no, I was just having my tech person
my bad.
Do some troubleshooting. You're good.
But, hey, listen, after giving up, that's what you want to see. You want to see them, that's kind of, you play the way you play in Madden, right? It's that bend but don't break defense. You let them You get them down inside the red zone. It feels like teams have done this to Dallas most of the season, and that really was a game-saving tackle by Bland on the screen. But you get them down there, that you get them in the red zone, and you just shut them down. You don't let them get in for a touchdown. So that's a positive. I think as much as giving up points could be positive, watching them really kind of do what they want to get down the field, big plays. Holding a field goal is a big deal. It's good.
Mhm.
It's a good first drive for defense. I'd like to see some pressure because Stafford does have some time back there, but I'll take it. So it's 7-3 after the first two drives on each side. Dallas is up with
All right. Yeah.
5:22 left in the first. So I think this next drive is a big one. You can really, as for as much, I don't want to say put your foot on their throat, because it's 14 points is very easy to come back from. But if you can get another drive here and just shut them down, I think that would be huge.
Yeah, get them one-dimensional early. And one point I don't want to leave out with that Bland third down tackle save. I think if the Rams saw what we saw, where our DBs play a lot of off coverage, they likely weren't anticipating Bland to be right up against Cooper Kupp. And if Bland is playing 8 yards off, that's probably a first down or a touchdown.
Yeah.
So whether that was a DQ adjustment or Bland had some discretion to go up, that proved to be pretty big in that moment.
And on a positive note, while we're on break, Eagles are down 7-0 on a Terry McLaurin nice, look like a go route.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a big game for Dallas, because especially if you got to win, if you win this game, you can technically still control your own destiny. I know it's still a long season, but you just still, well, maybe not control your own, but at least control for the NFC East. Because if you beat Eagles next week, now if you win this week and then win again next week, now you're kind of in the driver's seat. Even though that you'll have the same amount of losses as the Eagles, you have that game up. So I think coming out this week, and we need confidence. We need confidence from this offense, and I like what I saw, because we did say going into next week, Dak is going to have to be precise, because the Eagles are a very, very dangerous team. And I think even though, any week you could be beat. So I think building this confidence for Dak, especially for the rest of the season, is the big thing. So I'd really like to see him come out this drive again. And I know we talked about it. I want to see them sling this drive. I want to see Dak coming out another, just hit some more passes. Just get your guys the ball and let them make their plays. And I don't want to see the offensive line give up much, though.
Are you commentating, or are you writing down your Santa wish list? Because you're just kind of rolling and rolling. But first place slant route to CeeDee Lamb, right on cue. So really love to see that. Again, some more yak for CeeDee. Looks like my technical difficulties have cleared up for the time being, which is nice.
So I think you're a little behind, or you're a little ahead of me then on mine.
Second and third is what I got.
I just saw the kickoff.
Oh, baby.
So I'm a tad bit behind. But I do see where you said, yeah. So I just saw the CD pass. But we're doing well. Dak's getting CD to the ball. So CD so far through the first two drives has 4 catches for 43 yards. After, we stated he had, averaging 7 catches or 7 targets a game. He already has 4 targets this game. Mm-hmm. And, that CD play, that's another one of those, get him the ball. He makes the first guy miss and does his thing.
Yep. And kind of going back to what you said during the break, if we can get up 14-3, make them one-dimensional, kind of let our defense take a little bit more risks, get after the quarterback, let Parsons do his thing. And we can really, if we can settle in, man, we'll have a smooth second half, and then all the confidence in the world, going into our next week's game. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but
I don't like that. I'm seeing, we're seeing a lot of. He has a lot of time, but it feels like right now the only rushing we're getting going is Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pollard's he only has 2 rushing attempts, so I guess I can't complain too much. But he doesn't. He looks to be getting really balled up, and it feels like it's been like that all year though. Like he had
Yeah.
one game against Arizona where he did really well, and the rest he seems to be running into an offensive line that isn't getting pushed for him.
Yeah. And we could probably do a better job of using Pollard as a decoy, almost like the Niners do with Christian McCaffrey. Because if Pollard continues at the rate that he's at, other teams come playoff time, they're not gonna see him as a threat anymore. They're like, oh, this guy, he just doesn't have that big playability like he used to. Like we need to be more creative and getting him in space. I mean, we're calling plays for him that as if he has the same physique as Zeke.
That's what I was very nervous about going into the season. And that's why I thought we shouldn't have gotten rid of Zeke. I thought we should have kept him another year because I don't think that he has the body to be that type of guy. Because, and you're not, that's why as much as I didn't like Ronald Jones, I thought he would be a good kind of change of pace back for him to kind of ease Pollard back into the season.
Yeah, we made that decision to let him go way too early. I mean, what would it have been the setback for holding on to him, at least through the trade deadline?
That's a nice little and you're talking about different gadget plays. We have, CD, a nice end around or whatever. I guess it's not an end around technically.
Sweep, jet sweep.
There we go. Jet sweep for 12 yards. There's a nice little play. Get some running game. That's the type of things I think we need to do with our receiving core. You have a receiving core that, Cooks has some speed. CD gives you the shifty and elusiveness. That's the stuff we need to see. A lot more screens, a lot more of those bubble sweeps, jet sweeps. Another target for, I don't know what he's thinking there. I guess that was at a one-man route with Gallup because everybody's covered on it. So I'm a little behind still. I don't like it. I don't like the way we're looking this drive. We have been moving the ball.
Would like to at least get a field goal.
Dang.
Let me know once you see that third down play.
I saw a third down play.
That was on Zach Martin. That Donald got through right there. Pro Bowl Hall of Famer on Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but I get it. One Hall of Famer is an all-time great.
Yeah.
All-time great. But on a positive note, like you said, love to see a field goal here. And Mr. Aubrey makes it 58-yarder. That's a positive.
Down the middle.
That's big for the season. I'm quite shocked that they attempted it. Dak shouldn't get up in Donald's face, but yeah, he bullied.
Yeah,
you go back and whenever he's showing it, he bullied him. But no, Aubrey making a 58-yarder, that is huge because I think the one thing I didn't like last year and so far early this season, they've given up a lot of. I think they just didn't let him kick it. But you got the trust out there for a 58-yarder. Especially with what we've seen the last few years with our kickers just shanking and just terribly. Like he looked like he had some yardage on that too. He probably could have hit it like another. You give it a few more yards. He might be able to if you need him to at the end of the game. Yeah, that definitely, he could probably get over 60, 62, which is big time. 58-yarder in the NFL, that's still not a gimme. Kickers are now hitting 50 like it's nothing, but That's a huge deal. So now you want to see the defense come out. You'd like to see a shutdown drive here. That's what you really want to see.
Yes, I mean if we can get a turnover, um, put us in a really good field position. I mean, now we're rocking and we're rolling. But right now, I would say we're doing very good. Up 10-3. You know, let's see how kind of our defense now a little bit more. The jitters are out, right?
I'm worried about that. 3 sacks in the first quarter. I'm worried about that. Dak is um not as good yet. He did take some hits that one. He didn't, the completions weren't there. He did his thing, but it's just I think it was 6 or 7 the first drive, and now he's 7 and 9. So not much,
Yeah,
but he's getting hit way too much. You can't
he is.
you can't sustain that. I think that could turn into an issue. If you're letting him get hit all game, that's going to worry me because Dak's the type of guy that when he's back there, I've always worried about him taking that hit and not being able to, get I don't know what's the terminology use. Happy feet. He could get happy feet back there, and I won't like that.
Yeah, so that's McCarthy's job when he sees that happening. He's shorter routes, some wider screen. You got to do something to slow down the pass rush to get the ball out of Dak's hands quicker.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those jet sweeps, get the jet sweeps and just do what you're getting the ball right into CD's hands early. I think that's the biggest thing we need to do. Just continue to get it right into CD's hands and let CD go make his plays. I think that's what is the big thing for the rest of this game, just them short passes. So we're coming up. They have a kickoff like usual. Another touchback. I don't like that. I miss the old school football where you actually saw kick returns. Because there was such an exciting play. I remember what was it, the Super Bowl with the big Super Bowl. That's what it is. I say it. Go ahead. You can let everyone know. I caught it.
DaRon Bland, baby.
He's so good.
Wow.
He makes plays this year. He's made, and I did make fun of him for dropping, that interception 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes some big plays, and that right there, I think he's got on 4 interceptions. He has 3 touchdowns this season now. So, that's as we're going, we didn't DaRon Bland, a nice 30-yard touchdown interception. He's makes plays. That's the good thing is I feel like the playmaking ability hasn't dropped off, but what has dropped off is the jumping routes and giving up touchdowns. Because that was a beautiful play by him. He read it, that's like you said, and that could be the reason where you've stated that they do stay off of play back so much because they have guys that are very good at those type of reads. So
Cooper Kupp. So it was an option route. He chose to go outside, and that just seems to be the hook routes, the out routes are where DaRon Bland has a majority of his picks. I just feel like because he does not only pick off the ball, but they're pick sixes a lot of the time.
Yeah, and he's sitting back reading like against San Diego. He's sitting back. He's not watching the receiver. He's watching. He's got the eyes on the quarterback. And as soon as that quarterback starts that motion, he takes that cut and goes straight at him. So that's beautiful, man. After what we thought, starting out last drive, first play of drive number 2, Dallas's defense steps up big. While those sacks are huge for the Rams, interceptions for touchdowns are a little bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? Little bit bigger.
Yeah. And, Bland is setting himself up so that when, come January, quarterbacks are going to start thinking like they think against when you're going up against Sauce Gardner or when against the Darrelle Revis or Gilmore in his prime. Like when you start to make plays like this consistently, the quarterbacks are like, I'm just not throwing at that dude's direction. And that just strengthens our D line, that much more. We're getting the production out of Bland that we got out of Diggs without the big play.
And the
Without
good
throwing in
thing,
the big plays.
yeah, and it's tough too. It's because it's not like you can go look at the other side automatically. And you got a guy like Ramsey, like
Mhm.
Dion, Revis, Sherman. You're looking at the other side. You're taking your eyes off of that side. So it really feels like teams are doing that right now with Dallas and trying to pick on Bland because Gilmore's on that other side, and they just can't do it because Bland. It's got to be, because it's too long. If you're going to throw his way, it's got to be one of those quick slant routes, get the ball out of your hand, get it right to your receiver. Because if you give Bland a second to really jump that route, or if you're letting him back up watching it and watching the quarterback, he's going to pick it. And 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, like you said, he's getting the ball coming downhill. When he's intercepting that ball, he's running towards the end zone. So that's a big deal. So now you're in a position at 17-3. Maybe not this early. You don't want to just pin your ears back and start going, but San Fran's going to have to start. Not San Fran. Rams are going to have to start throwing. And you see in that first, the first play they run, alpha that is a screenplay, kind of knowing Dallas is going to start coming after them and try to hit that quick screen, which is what you do against a team that blitzes, and it didn't work.
Would you say and agree with me that DaRon Bland has a better case for defensive player of the year than over Micah Parsons right now?
Yeah, right now, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
He's such a big play. He's all like the big plays he's made, and it's really about, if you're going to win a defensive player, it's about big plays on top of the stats. So he's got 4 interceptions, 3 for touchdowns. He's on pace for 75% of his interceptions are going back to the house. Yeah, and he could have more. He should have 5 interceptions already too.
And part of the degree of difficulty is we asked him to move from slot, right? So not only does he have big shoes to fill, he's playing in a different spot than what he normally does. So that just adds to the degree of difficulty there.
Yeah. So ending out our first quarter, Dallas is leading the Rams 17-3 in a game I think is a little bit closer than what the score dictates. The first drive for the Rams, they did go 10 plays, 60 yards, kicked a field goal, but both of Dallas's drives, 10 plays, 75 yards, a tutter, 9 plays, 35 yards, big field goal. So they're putting together the drives with the passing. The Rams had the big drive, but then first play interception for a touchdown. So this is where we're going to exit after the first quarter. We have, Cowboys are up 17-3. Rams have the ball. They're getting ready to drive again. Let's hope this defense continues to step up. So far this game, it's playing out just, I wouldn't say like we expected, but like we hoped. We hoped it was a game like this. So we just got to keep our foot on the gas pedal. I'd like to see him cut back on the sacks. I'd like to see the defense start getting some. Any final words before we head out, Mr. James?
No, we have this game under control. So far this season, we've been able to protect our leads. So let's do that in a convincing way. Not let them edge their way back, especially before halftime. Keep the momentum, and come out strong in the second half. And
we will be back with you post-game show to discuss the rest of this game, what went right. Hopefully not what went wrong after we got off this stream today. But we'll be right back after the podcast, give or take a few minutes just to get things set up. But we will see you right after this game. And let's go Cowboys. Let's keep the foot in that pedal and just wear them down. We will see you guys after the game.